Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan, this is James, and today we're going to have a philosophy day. Joe Rogan with a Yale professor, I forgot his name, Nicholas Christakis.
Christ.
The Christ is here, and his name is Nicholas. But before we get started, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe account link is in the description box, and the website is in the intro, with lovely, beautiful metric music playing. That's right, punk rock, Canadian style. Yeah. So please, donate. Link in the description box, GoFundMe account, click the link, check it out, read the story, and drop some cash, man. Don't be cheap. You thinking about buying that new album? Don't do it. Give it to Devon's Journey to Recovery. You want to watch a UFC pay-per-view? Don't do it. Steal it, and then give that money to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box. Thank you. Alright, so we have this Yale professor that I've never heard of, Nicholas Christakis, and I guess he's on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I don't know, this may be an intuitive thing, but I think Joe seems to lean towards, he likes things like AI and we're robots and everything's a mechanistic function of nature. And I mean, what he would actually say is, I don't know, but he just seems to lean towards this one thing.
He leans towards it. He has guests that, it's weird. It's like, I'm not biased.
Yeah.
He'll say, but then how come all your guests pointing in that direction? It's your fucking, it's like that area is your interest.
Yeah.
The post-human world. Yeah.
Alright, so I didn't go to Yale. Did you go to Yale?
I don't remember.
I don't think he went to Yale either, or Harvard, or the Ivy League school. But I'm going to see if I can, introduce some of my ideas while Nicholas Christakis is saying his. Right now they're talking about nature versus nurture. Or it's nature and nurture. Yeah. Here we go.
Dogs my whole life, and one of the things that you do
What kind
realize,
do you have?
I right now have a golden retriever.
We have a white lab, yellow lab.
And I've had a bunch of different dogs.
Yeah.
I've had mastiffs and pit bulls and German shepherds.
No small. We have a dachshund too. You don't have small dogs.
My oldest daughter has a tiny Chihuahua.
It's a pain
He's
in the
awesome.
ass, aren't they?
No, he's the best.
They
I
just
love
bark
him.
all the time, though.
No, he doesn't bark that much. He barks
Oh.
a little bit, but he's really smart. He's actually a mutt. He's Chihuahua and Australian Shepherd, but he's like that big. He's tiny, tiny little thing. He's the best. But my point being is that you can see, if you get a dog from a breeder, you really can see how they can cultivate certain types of behavior. Like
Yes.
a good example of my Mastiff who passed away this year. He came from this guy who bred dogs for films and for police training. And he was the most calm, most chilled out dog I've ever had in my life. He was a giant dog.
Yes.
He's 140 pounds, but you could take him anywhere and trust him with a baby. And he was like, hello. Like everything was like totally, but this guy purposely, anytime a dog showed any aggression towards people or any aggression towards dogs, he wouldn't let them breed.
So how can anyone not know?
So,
Eugenics much?
well, breeding behavior
Creeps, man. No, I don't like that.
from one animal to the next,
Fucking assholes.
which would include humans, I guess. I think that's true on one level. On the biologically conditioned level, Freud might call that the id, the instinctual drives. Biological conditioning to keep you alive, to keep you surviving. But I also believe that conditioning can be sort of broken apart with what I would call the negotiator between your metaphysical self and your biological self, which I would call the ego. Once that goes through some form of I usually use the word shattering, broken apart, to where you sort of break down the conditioning. Let's just call it shattering. Once that ego shatters, then you can see a full separation between self and world, self and body. And that's when you sort of you can recondition yourself. Now, how that works in animals, I'm not exactly sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like dogs, not humans. I'm not exactly sure. But I definitely think that's possible. I can see, I don't know, let's say a dog's instinctual drive is to just eat constantly, right? Eat food constantly. Like, we've been around dogs where you spill a plate of something, it's just like a fucking vacuum cleaner, just eats that shit up. For the most part, from dogs I've seen, for the most part.
Walks away.
Let's say you have a dog like that. Now, let's say that dog has unlimited food 24/7. There's a shitload of pasta everywhere just spilled on the floor. It never goes bad. He can eat as much as he wants. It's like, what if that instinctual drive, that need to feed itself, is fulfilled 24/7 towards like, what's going on in the dog's mind to where it's like, I don't need to be thinking about food so much. It's just there. Does something happen? And I think something happens with domesticated dogs because it's, in a way, it's not that drastic, but their needs are sort of fulfilled for them as far as food, right? So they might have a different psyche than a dog that's out in the wild. And I attribute that to something like conditioning. Now, I don't think a domesticated dog all of a sudden becomes like, you know, shattered ego and, you know, like, oh, who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? I think it goes to something simple like, they call me this name all the time. Is that me? And then when you start yelling their name out, they look over like, oh shit, that's me. They have all of a sudden a persona is created, something humans have, right? Humans, their little mask they put on to, you know, this is my representative, this is who I am, this is what I'm showing the world. That mask, that persona, dogs sort of developed that. That's my whole spiel. I don't know if any of that made sense to anyone. It made sense to me, though. Dogs are pussies anyways. I go for cats. Because they're the real pussies. I don't know. Shall I continue? I'm going to continue now.
Hear the stories like that or know stories like that and not then also think that genes play a role in human behavior.
Oh, you have children?
Yes.
You realize it.
Yes.
When you have children, you see it like, okay, this is not, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
This comes from me.
Yes.
There's certain traits that my children have that I watch and I go, okay, this is not, this
I
is.
didn't teach them this. They just are this way. They were born this way.
They've got my fucked up brain. You know, there's something in there. Like, they're not seeing.
Joe did have a guy named Rupert Sheldrake on his podcast a while ago, and he has an idea called morphic resonance, and he actually told Joe, like, or Joe was talking about his kids, like, oh, when they're just play fighting, they naturally go into jiu-jitsu moves. And he's like, oh, that may be something that's passed on, but I don't think he means genetically. He means something a little more metaphysical. And that's from Rupert Sheldrake, by the way. And I consider that as a possibility. I consider both as a possibility. Maybe there's something within the genes that's metaphysical in nature. Sort of like, you know, conspiracy theory, you know, rich hidden billionaires with like decrepit old bodies and they drink younger people's blood and all of a sudden like, oh, I feel young again. Like that shit. Maybe there's like little like metaphysical things passed on as much as there's physical things passed on. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Do you have anything to say? Do you have anything? Do you have anything?
What?
So, yeah, I consider that, but don't forget the little story I said before about breaking that conditioning, right? I believe there are things that you start out with, biological conditioning, to help you survive. simple things, maybe like, I don't know, babies naturally wanting mom's boobs for milk or something like that. Or I've heard stories of babies just being able to swim without being taught. You just put them in water and they swim. Little natural, instinctive things that keep you alive. Mommy nature gave you to keep you alive. But then there can become a separation where you break that conditioning. And that's when in like a simple example, it might be something like, I don't know, someone holding their breath, right? I want to break the record for holding my breath. It's like, that's against your biological needs, but you choose to do something else. Like, you're making a separation there. Yeah, that's a good example. I like that. Or people going on hunger strike. They created a hierarchy of an idea that they want to fulfill more than they want to survive. Right? I'm willing to starve myself in order to achieve this top goal, whatever the strike is for. I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't go to Yale. I didn't go to Harvard. Just throwing ideas out there. See if something sticks. Let's continue. I already know the comments. You fucking idiot. Cancel your show. But God damn it. At least step up and debate or something. Let me throw my woo-woo ideas at you.
Ah.
All right, continuing.
Like they don't see how crazy I am in terms of like how hard I work at things, how obsessive I get with things. They're just doing it. It's very weird. It's very weird because you see,
I'm obsessive with doing the thing. I work very hard at things that I just like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I hear him talk a lot about like hard work. You know, gotta work hard at this. It's like you're doing what you want.
Yeah.
What?
And,
I don't know. It's just,
and when it comes to the kids, how come there can't be like a metaphysical nutrition too? Like maybe they want to bond with dad, so they tap into those metaphysical things of, oh, it's not happening on the conscious level, but subconsciously, oh, I do little jujitsu moves, or
even the way
I see dad working and I want to work hard.
I see the way dad talks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk like that. Or even facial expressions.
Or even without direct contact, which would be, you know, I would call it environmental for the ego, but most people wouldn't call it environmental. They'd call it crazy and supernatural, but
Supernatural is only something that people don't consider natural, and it's not normal.
well,
I've never seen it before. It's like, guess what?
Yeah, I'd consider the ego almost constantly in environmental mode, as in internal content and external content is the ego's environment, and it's being conditioned by that. Yeah.
go, oh, well, okay. Well, how much of this shit that's in me is, well, how much of me is me deciding to be this person, and how much of me has no choice?
About half and half, I would say, overall, on average.
Like I said, you can break conditioning.
Yeah.
Now, I don't consider your bones as conditioning. I'm talking about psychological conditioning.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, oh, what are you going to do? Change your height? It's like, no, I don't mean your physical stature or whatever. I mean psychologically.
It's like, you're a man. You're going to act this way.
Yeah.
It's like, huh?
Yeah.
That's conditioning, buddy.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, I think women are more caring. That's called conditioning.
See, when you're dealing with guys who have a presupposition of evolution is this way, thus everything we do is based on some sort of subconscious survival technique or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you can have a ball. You can turn everything into, like, laptops are made for this so we can communicate, so that we can share more resources. Thus, the species will survive longer. You can always turn it into that once you start with a presupposition like that. Just like starting with the presupposition that who we are is our brains.
Yeah,
Like
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Like how we understand ourselves to be is the brain doing that. Once you start with that presupposition, you're off to the races. You can come up with a million different theories and stories that will all check out because your starting point was this thing, was the brain or whatever. As Firas Sahabi said, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast, like you can start with the presupposition that, well, it's gremlins that are gravity. That's what that
Gremlins
is.
having rope tying, holding you down when you jump.
Once I have that presupposition, now I can come up with a whole theory for
Sure.
gravity, and it'll all check out and make sense.
At the end of the day, though, they don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows.
And then that's how I think people get locked. Ooh, the science doesn't say that. Where's your data? Blah, blah, blah. Like that type of shit.
Yeah.
That's how people get locked into that, and they don't like Vincent James would write out.
Oh, please.
The guy discovered DNA. It's like, you ever think he has a presupposition of looking at humans and human behavior as genetic? Once you have that, then you can start saying everything.
Sure.
You can
like
look at
that.
averages.
Note from this. Listen, Mary. I know. He calls himself Mary now. We can get rid of the gay gene. We can get rid of it. What? That's what that guy. Pretty sure that's what that guy believes in.
Yeah. I mean,
Wouldn't you want your son not to be gay? You can get rid of it.
He would look at.
Oh, the women too, right?
Well, I think he would look at like a brown-haired pitcher and a blonde-haired pitcher, average out their velocities, and say, there must be a genetic component to why brown hairs throw faster than blonde hairs.
I get it.
I'm just saying.
I understand.
Shall I continue?
Anyway,
Shall I continue? That means yes.
Across traits.
How much do you think gets passed down through genetics in terms of inclinations, like the nature,
dispositions?
Yes,
About half.
How?
On
I
average.
missed that.
Like the nature,
Dispositions.
Yes,
About half.
How?
On average. So, for example,
So half of our behavior is based on genetics. And I guess he's going to say the other half is based on environment, which means you have no choice. There is no free will.
No, you're a robot.
There is no you there.
Yeah.
It's genetics and environment having a dance. And
You're a robot, which means
you were not invited.
Which means you can be downloaded into a computer, which I think Rogan wants. Wouldn't it be amazing? Like that won't be you. That will not be you, man. That'll be something that looks like and talks like you.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's it. Yeah.
I mean,
Creeps.
you can look at this in like a thought experiment way. You have two identical twins, which means they share the same genes. You take them and put them in two of the exact same environments.
They're the same or
raise
similar?
them the exact same way, which means every word they say will be the same exact thing every time. When at 2:30 p.m. on August the 1st, 2034, John will say the, which means his twin brother Aaron will also say the. Actually, they both have to have the same name. Let's just call them John 1 and John 2.
Oh, John with John.
No, it has to be exact same.
Oh, really?
Same environment, same everything.
Oh.
They will say the exact same words simultaneously every single time. That would have to be the way, right? That'd have to be the theory. If it's genetics and environment, you raise two people genetically the same and give them the same exact environment. They're going to say the exact same words at the exact same time, the exact same way.
Yeah, with that theory, yeah.
And the exact same physical actions. They're both going to fall off their bike at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So that's just a little thought experiment. Tell me how believable that is. I don't know. But, yeah, if half of who you are is genetics and the other half is environment, there is no you there. Thus, that throws away a whole bunch of things out of society. Right? We do a lot of things assuming there's choice there. if you don't have the assumption of choice, a lot of things go away.
I would say it's either a lack of choice people have, or it's more of a potential for, a chooser.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, I consider some people to be a lack of a. I would say
there's choice. It's just it's so far away they can't see it. They can't see the actual choice happening. They can only see the reverberations of that choice.
No, I was gonna say
that would be my.
That's why it's more of a. I make more of a distinction between someone that's authentic.
Yeah.
It's gonna say a lot more as far as who or what's the chooser,
Yeah.
With these guys, it's their brain.
Well, yeah, a presupposition, and they're off to the races, as I say.
Yeah.
About half how religious you are or how risk averse you are. Like I can about half the variation in how, if you look at a group of people and some are more risk averse than others, about half of that has to do with their genes and half has to do with how they were raised or what environments they grew up in. So, there's a kind of innateness to many of our qualities, and you can shape them. For example, you can
shape them. It's Michael Desarian's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You can shape them. And a lot of people that I'd say, when we say ignorant, we're basically saying conditioned to where I can move walls in the maze and you will react to it. That's why I say things like that. But I say that, the only way I could say that is if I've broken the conditioning to say, oh, there's another way to this. There's another level to observe things through. To be or not to be.
Me a musician, unfortunately. I have almost no musical talent. I can dance, I think. I think others would even say that I can do that. So it's not just like I think I can dance, but I can't. But I have no musical ability whatsoever. I would say I'm tone deaf, and I can appreciate music. But I can't produce it. There's no way you could train me, I don't think, to be a musician.
That's by choice. That's all choice.
Yeah.
You ever want to? Did you ever put care into it?
Yeah,
I don't fucking think so. Fucking unreal.
See what happens if you put is that believable, guys? That this guy, who apparently went to Yale, which means he has some form of analytical intelligence, cannot play an instrument because of his genetics and his environment.
Stupid. This is what I mean by someone that's inauthentic.
Now, hold on, real quick. I would accept the environment argument if he meant there's a metaphysical internal realm that's conditioning the ego, as in if the ego is in an environment of internal content. But I don't think he's going there. When he says environment, I think he means external world. When he says genetics, he means biology.
Hence, right? From a young age, I was always good at academics, but I just could never find my footing here in this area. It must be natural.
Yeah.
No.
It
isn't.
To be fair, he could be just saying it for nice light conversation, little jokiness there.
Hey, there's always some truth to
it.
As far as truth meaning, as far as socially, what I mean by that is there's always some truth to what people say as far as how it's going to tie into how you really feel, So this is more of does this go into you? We are the brain theory,
Yeah,
I was never good at it.
I'd sit him down and ask him did you ever really care to be good at it?
Yeah, I know.
Some people there's this idea. I guess it falls into the SJW umbrella that everyone's just equal, and if I take this kid and put him in astrophysics, he could do just as good as this kid right here. And then the counter argument is the guy's well, there's biology and genetics, their brains aren't the same, thus they can't learn the same stuff.
You're just counting the individual.
And my answer is, well, maybe they didn't really want to do that in the first place.
Disregarding the individual, meaning, that guy actually really loves tennis. He doesn't want to be here right now.
Yeah.
He's okay with doing it for now, but he wants to play tennis. This guy actually loves it.
And it might actually be.
So who the fuck do you think is going to care more?
And all their actions might actually be surrounding that care.
Yeah.
Right? If a kid in school really cares for tennis, but he's in school, Like the only way I can play is if my grades are okay.
Yeah.
Thus, an atmosphere outside of that, or a level outside of that, is like, okay, I need to have academics to get to this core care thing.
Just kind of wrong, but.
Or someone's like, I want to save the world, and there's like all these different avenues. Like, well, what does that mean in this area? And then it's like, I want to, I don't know, be a politician. Now all of a sudden you got to learn English so you can communicate with people. Then you got to learn policies so you can be an expert on certain policies.
Sure.
And you might want to understand empathy and psychological things of how to deal with people. It's like you end up becoming like intelligent in all these different areas to do with this core thing that you're really aiming at.
You forgot about, going to law school.
Or I'm making this all up. You're all really robots. Yeah. I'm making this all up.
You forgot about going to law school, making probably like, paying money for that as well as your soul, and then going into politics.
This guy throws cheap shot at lawyers, man.
Cheap shots?
He's a lawyer hater. He hates Esquires. He looks for him in phone books. John Adams, Esquire. Get him.
Esquire.
Someone prank call that man right now.
What's Bill and Ted? What was it? Esquire. What?
Fuck. I forgot their last name. They're making another movie, by the way.
I know.
I forgot their last names.
Whoa.
William James Esquire.
William James Esquire.
Nah, I made that up. All right, let's continue here.
But so some of it is inborn, and some of it is taught for all of these qualities. Yes,
it's a fascinating.
Depends what you mean, but if I'm going to take it as far as what if it's written on paper, and I'm going to assume what you mean by that, then he's absolutely wrong.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can only do this if you're going to fucking take the individual out of the conversation. You just are this thing, this empty thing. That's completely completely moldable by what we put around it. And its walls.
Let me
watch the rats move differently if I put a wall this way. Watch.
Let me try my own little thought experiment. This might end up, in a train crash, but let me just think about it out loud. Okay. Environment and genetics. Okay. Something has to be observing the environment in order for the environment to have some sort of effect on someone.
So who
right?
Yeah, so there needs to be who or what is the observer?
Now, if you're saying the brain is the thing that's making the observation and whatever, growing with it, then the brain... But then the brain's based on genetics and biology. It's a physical thing. All the neurons fire. These are all physical phenomena. So wouldn't that already just be dictated already? Right?
So then you have no choice.
If it's environment, which is this materialistic, stone cold thing, if we're only talking about external environment. Sure. Then you have this other physical, materialistic, stone cold thing. It's like, So what's making choices or anything like that? I don't know. I just know that. I was just thinking.
It's establishing. Well, it's establishing who or what is the chooser. And then when we get that answer, then it's pretty easy to map out like what he specifically means by it's genetic, or whether not discounting the whole well, your height, your weight, like James, you look exactly like your dad and his granddad and possibly his.
Yeah.
But as far as and you'll act the same, it's like no.
Or even how you feel about something, right?
Yeah.
But once again, I bring up Firas Zahabi, the discussion he had with Joe Rogan, where he brought up the billiard balls, right? If I hit a billiard ball a certain way, at a certain angle with a certain conditions, the ball's going to move this exact way. I can calculate it to a T, as long as I understand all the factors going on there. They're essentially saying that about a person.
No.
if I understand all the factors going on, I will, all the, like, what I mean by factors, I don't mean the internal self. I mean the brain and the biology, the genetics, and the external environment. I know exactly how a person will behave.
Well, the whole billiard balls theory. I think what he meant specifically was right something that happened once with the same exact environment and scenario.
It'll happen again.
Yeah,
same exact way.
It's also cookie cutting.
No. It's a hypothetical thought experiment. That's why it works. Because he's saying if you have the exact same conditions, hitting the ball the exact same force, with everything's exactly the same.
Yeah, what I'm
the ball's
saying
going
is,
to move the exact same way.
If you're going to make the comparison and use person with that theory,
Well, I'm saying that's what they're saying essentially.
Wrong.
Right? That's physical law, and thus, in their definition of a person, they're based on physical law. Thus, it's going to, if you understand the conditions and you understand the biology and the genetics, you will know how a person behaves straight up.
Bullshit.
I disagree with that. But let's continue.
Anything to watch it emerge from a child, isn't it?
Yes, as a parent, you see where it comes from. Although we have adopted, my mother had 3.
What happens during tragedies? I think the ego shatters and the conditioning breaks.
Yeah.
And it's not you make pancakes for, Abby for breakfast, and you put a little smiley face on it. They're not like, yeah, my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Everything might shatter.
Yeah.
Towards like, I'm not hungry. They don't have to be pissed. They could just be like mopey as fuck.
I know.
Oh, I'm not fucking hungry. Fucking smiles again. This guy doesn't take me serious. So, I'm just throwing that out there as an idea to consider.
Biological children, and I have 2 adopted siblings. I come from actually a multiracial family. I have a black sister and a Chinese brother. And my mother was an incredible human being. She died when I was 25. She was 47. And we have been foster parents, my wife and I, we have lots of adopted kids in the extended family in addition to biological kids. And so you can see the play of genes, you can see the extent to which the kind of the inherited traits that that we all have, and you see the shaping by how you're raised, and so both are important. And this is incidentally why
this is conditioning. Yeah.
I would think so.
What he's describing, right? Environment, conditioning.
Yeah.
And it's the individual who's in that, right? Who's being exposed to the conditioning or the environment. It's up to them whether they, okay, I'll follow, or they break the conditioning, or they rebel against the environment.
Once again, for Asahabi, the 2 trains on the track, on parallel lines, running in the same exact way. They turn. One turns, the other one turns with it. It keeps turning, and you can't find the difference between the physical thing and the metaphysical thing. There needs to be a separation point.
Yeah.
In order to say, oh shit, you'll hear people talk about like outer body experiences, but that doesn't have to be something crazy like that.
No.
It could be something ego shattering, like depression or something like that.
Sure.
To where outside is like, I'm having a good time. No one can tell you're sad inside. There's a separation between. I don't know. I would say there's a difference there, but yeah, that separation more like something like the ego shattering, or I believe in psychological terms, just noticeable difference. When you notice like there's a glitch in the matrix, right? It's like, oh, something's different here.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually someone recognizing themselves.
This is, a little annoying. Yeah. Like, hey kids, you know how daddy feels?
Yeah.
Daddy feels you're genetically predisposed,
Yeah. But, maybe
possibly.
Maybe he thinks there's something else, but
I'm sure, I would hope he does.
I don't think he does, but maybe.
You ever have anyone? It's not nature or nurture. It's both.
Yeah.
Always. Almost in every single trait, actually.
Well, that's the case with so many things in this life. We want everything to be binary.
Yes.
I think that is the binary. I think that is the
Yo,
binary solution.
What's with this guy?
Is that not binary? It's either genetics or it's environment. It's either 1, your genetics, or 0, the environment. I don't know. That seems like a binary thing to me. There's not a lot of nuance there. There's not a consideration of the self or what is it? What's consciousness? We don't understand that yet. What's consciousness?
I wonder if he's very passive when it's something he agrees with.
Well, I think they're going to turn it into I don't know, political correctness or SJW or something like that, or tribalism and team playing.
Oh, he should know about that. He engages in it.
Maybe.
Essentially.
I think so. I think so.
I have evidence for it.
I would think so on a materialistic type of thing.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or establishment. You went to Yale? I'll consider your ideas.
I'll consider your ideas more
You're
than
a fucking cage fighting coach?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'll consider your ideas more than a dude that looks like or came from the same background as Kurt Cobain. Dressed like a hobo. Like, hey, man. Hello, Joseph. He has a tie. It's a bow tie.
They can't lie. Man,
Yeah.
I'm just fine.
Oh, fuck out of here. What was it, the New York
I'm
Times?
not talking about professors. That's more about journalists. And
All I'm saying is something that's established, something that's considered, you can consider it like a hierarchy.
well, I think he draws it out logically. He's thinking, okay, in order to write for the New York Times or Washington Post or whatever,
You have to be established.
you have to have this type of intelligence
Yeah.
to get into this school, to get to this,
you
get to this
have to
job.
be credible.
Thus, you
Yeah.
would never take the risk of lying like that
Yeah.
because
Unless-
it's too risky. There's the internet out there. He's
Funny,
using the
right? Yeah, I get it.
logical
I got you, but it's
jumping
not
jack.
good enough.
Yeah, I know. It's not good.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if the world was full? I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's like, hey, dude, if the world was full of you, we'd be in trouble.
I think it would be fine.
No, what I meant was majority's like, hey, they can't lie. Oh shit, this will be a lot easier than we thought.
Fair enough.
Until, right? It's odd because I don't know, man. He never sounded like this before. Like as far as a certain point, he didn't sound like that before.
He may have started like
maybe-
fishing for
maybe.
guests. Like, oh, I can't do this if I want this person sitting across from
I
me.
gotcha.
Maybe not.
I'm just upset with what he's been doing lately. That's all.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's a total, we were talking earlier, it's a total loss of nuance and an inability to see any gray. And some people think, and I think that's what you were talking about.
Yes.
Some people think that we are hardwired.
Wait.
Real quick, I don't see anything in gray. Period. There is no gray area for me.
Then what is that?
You're just being stubborn or whatever. You think you know it all. No, you see, I can stay in black and white very easily and stick to the truth. You want to know how? What do I know? What don't I know?
We're created equal, Jordan. See?
What do I know? What don't I know?
Yeah,
It's your IQ test. That's binary. That's black and white. Do I know this or don't I know this? Straight up, simple. Oh, look at that. I live in a black and white world. You white, low IQ, racist, supremacist.
I got you. Wait a minute. I don't see any plaque of telling me that you're some sort of wonderful, enchanted university. It's a doctorate. You don't know anything. Imagine a fuckwad holding his dick on the side of the street as a PhD.
Yeah.
Someone's like, he does have a PhD and you don't.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, man, someone needs to get a hockey stick and just chase people sometimes. You know what I mean?
Think of whatever scenario, right? It's like some religious figure coming down from the skies, or it's aliens. It's something that has higher intelligence than us, right?
Higher intelligence, you mean?
They have more wisdom or whatever. It's usually something like that.
Okay.
They usually have something like that. Do you really think they're gonna care what profession you have? Like, fucking super intelligent wisdom aliens float down from the sky. They're gonna be like,
Ready?
He did go to Harvard though.
Ready?
like, come on, guys.
I'm gonna say a name. You tell me like the dude's background, profession. Okay. Sam Harris.
He's an supreme intellectual.
Oh.
PhD in neuroscience.
PhD in neuroscience. Intellectual, considered by many.
Public intellectual.
Public speaker as well.
Public speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Philosopher.
Ready? My turn. But I'll say the name. Jesus Christ. Carpenter. Zinger.
No suit and ties for him. Sandal boy.
Why don't you go build me a house?
Someone has dirty fingernails.
Go build me a chair, you fucking serf, you lesser on the totem pole. Isn't it funny, right? It's odd, right? It's like neuroscientist, right?
Yeah.
Considered by some to be a philosopher.
I would say he dives into it, yeah.
And yet
tries to make it scientific.
Yeah.
But I think he falls short.
It's mediocre. And then you got Jesus Christ Carpenter.
Yeah.
As far as profession. But it's like, dude's probably a philosopher.
Yeah.
From what I see. The Carpenter looks like he's more wise. The person or the character or whoever the fuck he's based on or whoever the fuck. It's odd.
Yeah.
Or whoever, created the concept of a character of that, a character of such with like those archetypes,
Yeah.
So it's like, so Bill the janitor could be more wise than our fucking leader. Our leader as far as the president, or presidents or whatever have you. Someone that people, as far as in society, hold up to such a degree where it's like, he's in such a position where he has to be wise. He knows more than me.
Yeah.
Bill, fix my plumbing. It's like, fuck.
Also, I just want to say, I would say wisdom is something different than memorizing content. I think those are two different things.
Yeah.
Wisdom has an intoxication that goes with it. It has the feeling of being right as much as it is right.
Yeah.
So, or correct.
Once again, say. Right?
Not right wing.
Once again.
Correct.
Elon Musk. What is he?
He's a...
Specifically what?
Astrophysicist. Rocket scientist.
Is he like an engineer? Too? Yeah.
The creator of Tesla cars. The Tesla mobile.
And
I don't even know where he went to school.
Me either.
I don't know.
What?
He's smart. That's all you need to know. Look at his IQ.
Ready? And you got someone like,
the Buddha.
Yeah, not Buddha. Let me think. Buddha. Let me think. You could say, I could say his name right now. As far as what I believe to be his workings, Mr. Tessarian. Philosopher, and that's it. Speaker.
Yeah.
Well, see, this guy, his IQ's higher. Musk, that is, and he makes cars, stuff that goes into space, I think, right? So... But I have the solution to the... No, shh. Oh, wonderful, great, listen to him. Do it.
Hey, Elon's going to get us to live forever by transmitting our consciousness into these robotic...
Great, post-human world, wonderful.
Robots.
Great, wonderful. Sign me up. Let's do it.
It'll be us driving.
All gun-ho.
And it'll be self-driving at the same time.
All gun-ho. Wonderful. It won't be you driving, but wait.
It'll be Knight Rider. Will be built into the cars.
Everybody will be running scattered, going like beyond ballistic, and I'll be washing my hands in the well. Calm. I'm trying to find that one. I can't find it.
I don't remember either.
The point is, see how silly that is?
Yeah.
See how ideas are not... in my opinion, respected as much as some sort of perceived intelligence, which is very embarrassing. Wow, buddy, you can make a fucking car. Do you know what love is?
And that's what I think philosophy was supposed to do.
I don't mean to stomp on that. It's just, in the bigger scheme of things,
That's what I think philosophy was meant to do, but it got washed away in academia to where it's now a profession, to where you have to learn this to get to the next stage, to get this job.
It'll always be that. Whatever is
As
fucking.
opposed to the grounded
whatever-
experience. Feet on the ground, head in the clouds.
Whatever is given
Whatever
to
it
you
is.
on a piece of paper, that's just a. That's not real.
Maybe, maybe not. All right.
The institution of.
Let's finally finish this video.
The institution of. Listen, you did it. Here you go. You're a philosopher. Here's your paper. Like, you better be fucking real. Understand that shit's not real.
Maybe, maybe not. There we go.
To like dichotomies, to see, male and female and up and down and good and evil and left and right, and to simplify the world by finding out, and that we like it, that it's soothing to us to think that the world can be divided into two categories.
Yes.
But in fact, many times, not always, like up and down is sort of clear,
Right.
but many times it can. There's shades of gray. And it's harder. That's harder to live in the gray.
I could have swore up and down were also concepts that
Based off of perception.
that
No?
we placed over reality. Do you see what I mean with the presuppositions? Like a philosopher will have a field day with saying, well, up and down is pretty fixed. It's like, that seems arbitrary, like someone created that. Said this is up, this is down.
Yeah.
If like someone flies upside down next to you, is that up and is that down?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? What if we've been upside down the whole time?
What if we are in the sky?
Now, obviously,
You know what I mean?
I'm going out there. I'm just saying,
Perception.
Perception, yeah, perspective, continuing.
Yes, I completely agree, and that's why I've always been opposed. I mean, I think it's incredibly foolish to deny that, but people find comfort in denying
Yes.
that. They find comfort in being tribal.
Yes.
They find comfort.
Us and them.
Yeah, us versus them
Yes.
is the classic. Right?
Yes. Yes.
It's human nature.
I mean, I do the same thing. I bet there's evidence, no?
Well, I think he'll be.
Not so
Great
on the
dis-
surface.
Yes, it's a simplified view of the world, and it's foolish and dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you're at war with an enemy. It's me or him, and or us or them. There are circumstances in which it's a
For
different
survival.
Yes, for survival.
In that mode.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
But
And
No,
it's
that's where that's the exact, almost the exact opposite. That's where the individual should take over. Like, is this right or is this wrong?
Yeah.
That should be contemplated deeply. That should not be tribalistic. What should be tribalistic is, go Yankees, go Yankees.
yeah, that's the only type
Fuck
of
the Red Sox.
collectivism.
Yeah.
Only type of collectivism.
That's
Should never be where, well, it's us versus them. There's one gun in the middle of the room.
the Joker
Pool
cracks the
stick.
pool stick,
Yeah.
throws it in the middle.
All the tryouts.
Tryouts.
Yes. We're gonna have tryouts.
So, yeah, things like war and violence and things like that should definitely not be tribalistic.
Fuck no.
I mean, maybe if you
No.
had like an alien invasion, maybe not even then. It'd have to be like ghostly demons.
This is what I mean. Remember,
you need magical
remember what I
swords.
said? Remember what I said about the whole guns, bunker thing,
Yeah.
like armory.
Yeah.
I said, hey man, I'm all. Hey, tell me why. I'm all for it. Well, based on what you say. Oh, in case the zombies come. Oh, what we based off of what we perceive a zombie to be, like something that's dead, no soul, nothing, just dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a demon possessed, no soul. Yeah, I'm for it. Right? Not we're ignorant too, but blah, blah, like aliens, kill them. It's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. I won't.
Yeah. If we're fighting the robots, I'm down.
Yeah.
Give me an AK-47. There's a robot invasion.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Ow. Ow. They start simulating pain.
Ah.
This will trick the humans into feeling bad.
Save
Ow.
me.
Ow. Ben Shapiro
What?
voices.
I don't know. The internet shows this the most beloved human being in the world. Shows Ben Shapiro's face down. Huh? It's like, you just. I'm just kidding.
All right, let's continue.
But I think a kind of worldview which says we are good, they are evil, as we've been saying in different kind of ways in different parts of our conversation, is I think foolish and wrong and ultimately self-injurious. Actually,
Well, you already you already don't believe in good or evil. You can't without choice.
Well, yeah. How
And
can
you
you
don't
be-
have choice
how can you believe
in
in
your
stuff like
formula.
that? How can you believe in stuff like that when you discredit or disregard the individual completely?
Well,
And to do that, right? Oh, you got your brain, so you don't have choice. So everything you do, it's not you deciding; it's already predetermined.
yeah,
Then
it would have to be predetermined by your genetics
yeah,
and your
it's
environment.
not, and I don't care like who says it. It's either that, you have no choice, or you do.
And they're just
And
skipping over it.
and that goes deep into layers. Like an onion, right? There's how I perceive myself right now, as far as where I look at myself in the mirror, right? What do we call the ego?
Yeah, you say
The shallow
persona.
sense. Yeah, okay. And you can keep going deeper,
Maybe say the ego.
and there's more, and there's more, and more. Right? So I didn't know back then. I didn't know. Or the shallow sense of, yeah, I know what I did. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, because you don't know you
Yeah.
or I in that scenario.
It's like the hierarchy of knowing. Absolute. As
Yeah.
opposed to, well, we are our brain and we have no choice, and love. It's like, if you're going that route, there is no love.
Yeah, you need
It's
choice.
just
to
it's
love.
just something firing in your brain.
Yeah, just chemical reactions.
I don't want to keep this going, but I remember I was watching clips of House of that show,
Yeah,
and it's just sad because it's like whenever I watch a show, I'm like, and the reasoning for some stuff is the brain. I'm like, fuck, you guys are going that route. This one girl was committing crimes and shit because I don't know. When she was younger, there was acupuncture needles, and they went deep into her skull and shit, and they were putting pressure on the part of the brain that acts out aggression. It's like, we're gonna remove them, and after that, she'll be a totally different person. It's like,
I always look at those scenarios and what if you told her?
yeah, I know.
What would happen after that?
I know.
This thing is happening in your brain that's causing this chemical reaction that's causing you to act aggressively.
Yeah.
What if you told her that, explained it to her, proved it to her straight up?
Yeah.
Now it's well, what's the thing that's observing that
Yeah.
and
That's what I
making
mean.
changes on it?
That's what I mean specifically, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing for that, then it's another for, well, how am I going to say this?
Real quick, it'd almost be like imagining she has a voice in her head now. Right?
Yeah.
It'd be she's, I don't know, aggressive. You're going to punch that girl. You're going to punch her now.
Yeah.
Remember what the doctor told me. You're going to punch her.
Yeah.
And it's oh, okay. There's a separation. You see the separation?
Yeah.
It's almost like that voice becomes external to the ego. I thought you were saying something. Yeah.
Sailed.
Chris sailed. That's right. Opening day today, bitches.
Oh, fuck the Red Sox. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck those Red Sox. And the Yankees. Fuck them, too. Fuck every team except Atlanta.
Don't think the Brewers would like to hear that.
Fuck the Brewers.
Ooh.
Fuck the fucking Brewers.
Ooh.
They can go brew nuts and shit. I don't give a fuck about them.
That was weak. It's weak.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be weak. It doesn't have to be strong. It just has to be true. That's all. Yeah.
Stadium full of white people. Oh. And the Americans, look at you. Look at you. Imagine, you're the only, it's you and a bunch of people. Raise your hand if you're actually Native American. It's just stadium of 40,000 people, just one person's raise your hand if you're not.
I'd be are we winning? I don't give a shit then. For losing,
No.
for losing,
Imagine.
I'd sue to get more of a payroll for my team.
You sue, so that way, whenever you attend a game, you're the only one. It's it's just quiet. It's just you and the grandstand going.
I'll sue him for season tickets.
You just see one. You see
Chipper
one.
Jones autograph.
You see one dark pigmented arm going like this.
All right, that's it from us. Please subscribe if you like. Always comment, agree, disagree. Interesting ideas, interesting videos. Marshall Villager is the name, who sent us or told me about street epistemology, which is very interesting. I'd love to have that happen to me. I'd love to sit down with the guy who makes those videos, and I'd like to have him try to break down my ideas. You know, it's putting steel to the fire. That's how you become Ironborn. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones lately. It's coming back soon. I need to refresh. But yeah, please comment. Agree, disagree, something interesting you're thinking about, whatever. Let it be known in the comment section. Also, donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box, and the website is in the intro to this video. Click that link. Check it out. Read the story. We don't have fucking free healthcare yet. We better get that shit. Since we don't have free healthcare, people have to struggle with paying medical bills while also paying rent, while also going to work, while also doing this and that, and paying for the car. So any amount will help, guys. Please donate. And with that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a car.